Seated on our mats. We do usually start in a cross-legged position, but an option to start with legs out in front, if that is more comfortable for you. My name's Amber. I am your yogi teacher for today. We will be doing a 60-minute Vinyasa flow class. In terms of intention and what we're working with for today's class, we are looking to find more space in the body, specifically the hip area, as well as the mind. So this is the intentions that this class, today's flow was designed with. That being said, if you also want to take a moment to set any intentions you have for yourself, if you're already working with any intentions, any goals in your personal life, if you want to devote this practice to someone you love or someone in need, please do take a moment to close your eyes and set that intention now. Right, so in terms of today's class, we will need a block or a couple of blocks. That's all. If you so choose, or if you prefer, you can also use a strap, have a bolster ready for Shavasana, have a blanket ready for Shavasana, or anything else you may need to get comfortable later. So let's get into it. Oh, before we do, actually, any injuries?
No.
No?
No.
Nice, okay. That being said, I'll still give a couple of options so that this class can be suitable for beginners and more advanced students. Do feel free to take whatever options you need. Taking an option is more than welcome, actually. It doesn't have any reflection on how advanced you are, it's just what your body may need for this day. So let's take a moment and center ourselves in the room. Land in the room. Land in your body. Close your eyes and take a couple of clearing breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. As we scan our body, scan our toes, our feet, our shins, our calves, checking in with how we feel today. Scanning our knees, our thighs, our hips, checking in with how they feel. Bringing awareness to your torso, your diaphragm, your shoulders. Making a note of what you find. Checking in with your neck, your jaw, your ears, your head, and your mind. Which version of you find on the mat today. Any version is welcome, every version is okay. And we're going to take the next 20-30 seconds or so practicing our Ujjayi breath. So this is our ocean breath. Ocean breath is where you find the restriction in your back of your throat, creating a very wave-like sound as you breathe. Taking 20-30 seconds now. Cycling through your wave-like breath. Final breath. Moving into our warm-up, we can begin to gently roll the neck. In circles. And in the opposite direction. And moving those circles to the shoulders, rolling the shoulders up and back. And then up and forward. On your next inhale, we're going to raise those hands to the sky. Extending a little bit further. And then we're going to inhale and lean to the left. Inhale and return to center. Exhale. Inhale and lean to the right. Exhale. Coming back to center, releasing your arms and finding a torso twist. So inhale, exhale and twist. Inhale, return to center. Exhale and twist. Inhale to center. Exhale and twist. Releasing your left hand to your right knee to help you find a little bit more of a twist. Right hand behind you, and then swapping to your opposite side. Right hand to left knee, left hand behind you, finding that twist. Before we return to center and find some wrist circles, warming up those wrists in one direction and then the other. Now, popping your feet out in front of you on the ground. We can windscreen wiper our legs, sending both knees to one direction and then the other. So we can mobilize those hip joints. At whatever pace suits you, but not rushing, mindfully mobilizing those joints. Before we move to all fours, so meeting in all fours, we will take a couple cat-cows. So inhaling, arching your back, lifting your chin, drishti, gaze upwards. And exhale, rounding the back, tucking the chin. Inhale, sending that chin and that drishti gaze upwards. Exhale, rounding the back, mobilizing the spine gently, chucking the chin. We'll do that one more time. Now, on your next inhale, you're going to lift your right arm. On your next inhale, you're going to thread the needle. So gently threading it through. Absolutely. Inhale, raising the hand to sky again. Exhale, releasing your shoulder, your ear to the ground. Not worrying if it doesn't quite meet the ground. and swapping hands. So we are inhaling and raising the left hand this time, exhaling and threading the needle. Moving with your breath, whatever pace of breath. Noticing if there's any difference in range of motion from side to side. Difference is good. We just want to observe the vessel we find ourselves today. And then last but not least, we can slightly step the hands forward to find our puppy dog. Sending the hips back and finding a gentle back bend. Stretch. Before we return to all fours. And meet at the top of the mat. So we will now cycle through 3 rounds of our sun salutation. Sun salutation is effectively your next phase of warm-up. It allows us to build enough heat so that we can move into today's flow, today's sequences safely, warmly. I'll just give you a sec to have your water and we can get into it. Right, so meeting at the top of the mat, we're going to ground both feet firmly into the ground, making sure our feet is firmly rooted into the ground, both in terms of both sides of the foot, but also the heel and the toes, so you have a nice sturdy base, nice roots to help you rise. And our next inhale, we're going to send our hands to the sky, extended mountain pose, tucking that belly button, hinging at the hips. Exhale, send hands to the ground, to the earth. Inhale, raise your back halfway, half forward fold. Exhale, release hands to the earth and step the right leg back to find your runner's lunge. Inhale, step your left leg back. Exhale, release knees, chest, chin to the ground, chest lands between your hands. Inhale, slide the body forward, untuck the toes, find a slight back bend. Exhale, we're pushing the ground away with our hands, tucking the toes and sending the hips to the sky to find your downward dog. Inhale, step it forward with your right foot. Exhale, step it forward with your left foot. Inhale, return to mountain pose, hands together at heart space. Left side. Inhale, hands to the sky, extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands to the earth, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, half forward fold, raise your back to half forward fold. Exhale, release hands to the earth and step it back with your left foot to find your runner's lunge. Exhale, step it back with your left foot. Inhale, step it back with left foot. Exhale, release knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, find your cobra or your upward dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, push the ground away, send your hips to the sky to find downward dog. Inhale, step it forward with your left foot. Exhale, step it forward with your right foot. Inhale, hearts together, hands together at heart space. 2 more times. Hands to the sky, extended mountain pose. Hands to the earth, forward fold, Uttanasana. Raise your back halfway. Inhale, raise your back halfway. Exhale, release hands to the ground and step it back with your right foot. Inhale, step it back with your left foot. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, push the ground away, find your back bend, upward dog. Exhale, push the ground away, send your hips to the sky, downward dog. Inhale, step it forward with your right leg. Exhale, step it forward with your left leg. Inhale, hands together at heart space. Left side. Inhale, hands to the sky, extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands to the ground, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, raise back halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, release hands to the ground, step it back with your left foot. Exhale, step it back with your right foot. Sorry, inhale, step it back with your right foot. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale to upward dog, push the ground away. Exhale, push the ground away, send your hips to the sky, downward dog. Inhale, step it forward with your
right foot.
Right foot. Exhale, step it forward with your left foot. Inhale, hands together at heart space. Left side. Inhale, hands to the sky, extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands to the ground. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, raise it back halfway. Exhale, release hands to the ground and step it forward. Step it back with your left foot. Exhale, step it back with your right foot. Release knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, push the ground away for upward dog. Exhale, push the ground away, some hips to the sky, downward dog. Inhale, step it forward with your left foot. Exhale, step it forward with your right foot. Inhale, hands together at heart space. Last round. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to the ground. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, hands to the ground, step it back with your right foot. Inhale, step it back with your left foot. Exhale, knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, tuck your toes, send your hips to the sky, downward dog. Inhale, step it forward with your right foot. Exhale, step it forward with your left foot. Hands together at heart space on that last inhale. One more round. Inhale, hands to the sky, extended mountain pose. Exhale, hands to the ground. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, raise it back halfway, half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, release, hands to the ground, step it back with your left foot. Inhale, step it back with your right foot. Exhale, release knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, push that ground away, side forward, find your slight back bend. Upward dog. Exhale, push the ground away, send your hips to the sky, find a downward dog. Inhale, step it forward with your left leg. Exhale, step it forward with your right leg. Inhale, hands together at heart space. 3 rounds of sun salutation. Are we warm?
Yes, we are.
Good. Perfect. If you want, take a second and we'll jump straight into sequence 1. Take a second, take a sip. And we meet at the top of our mats, feet firmly grounded on all sides. Lovely. So on our next inhale, we're going to send our hands to the sky just like we know how. And exhale and find a slight bend in our knees. Sitting on your chair. Make sure you can still see your toes, your toenails above your knees. So slight bend, but not too far. Then we're going to bring hands together at heart space. Inhale. And on that next exhale, we're going to twist to our right. And take 2 clearing breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Returning to center. Straightening those legs. And we're gonna send our hands to the sky. Extended mountain pose. Hands to the ground. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Raise it back halfway, half forward fold. Exhale, release hands to the ground and step it back with your right leg. Inhale, step it back with your left leg. Exhale, release knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale for your upward dog or your cobra. Exhale, send the hips to the sky, push the ground away for your downward dog. So now on your next inhale, we're lifting up that right leg, and taking a breath here. releasing the leg to the ground again. We're going to shift our weight forward towards a plank. And bring knee towards nose, planting the foot on the ground in your runner's lunge again. Releasing that back knee to the ground. Sending your weight. Stacking front knee above front ankle. And lean on your next inhale, hands to the sky. Feeling a stretch on your left leg in that hip area. Take a couple clearing breaths here. Inhale. And exhale. And keeping your blocks handy if you need them. We are going to gradually straighten this front leg, stacking your left hip above left knee. So if you need to shift that front foot forward, you absolutely can. Keep using the blocks if you need them to give you some balance. Straightening out that front leg. Nice. This is your half split. On your inhale, you can lengthen your torso, lengthen your spine. On your exhale, you can forward fold as much as your body allows. Yeah, adjusting the blocks as you need to help you with that forward fold. Breathing into that. Should be feeling a stretch in that right hamstring. And then when you're ready, on your next exhale, you can place your left hand on the floor or on a block. And on your next inhale, send your right hand to the sky. Just for a second, placing your hand back on the block. Sending the weight forward. Pulling that foot back, sending it forward. Lifting that back leg, so you're back in your runner's lunge. Yeah, nice. Stepping back that right leg. And flowing through your vinyasa. So releasing knees, chest, chin to the ground. Pushing the ground away to find your upward dog. Tucking the toes. Pushing the ground away, sending your hips to the sky to find downward dog. Nice. Stepping it forward with your right leg. Stepping it forward with your left leg. Hands together, heart space. Perfect. So we're going to do the same thing on the left side. I'm going to give you a little bit more room for your downward dog.
Thanks. I like the space.
Okay, perfect. So we can do the exact same flow on the left side.
Thank you.
Is that right? Exact same flow on the left side. So we're going to inhale, so make sure both feet are planted beautifully into the ground. Inhale, turn hands to the sky to find an extended mountain pose. Exhale, find a slight bend in our legs and sit on our chair. And then we're going to inhale. On the exhale, bring our hands together at heart space and twist to our left. Taking 2 breaths here. Mindful that the hips have stayed square, knees are in line with each other still. You're only twisting at the torso. And on your next exhale, we can return to center. And on your next inhale, we can straighten those legs. And send hands to the sky. Exhale, hands to the earth. Inhale, raise your back halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, release hands to the ground and step back with your left foot. Inhale, step back with your right foot. Exhale, release knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, push that ground away, slide forward and find your upward dog. Exhale, push the ground, tap the toes, push the ground away, find your downward dog. And then your next inhale, we're lifting the left leg to find three-legged downward dog. Releasing that foot to the ground, shifting your weight forward, shoulders over wrists, bringing that left knee towards the chest and planting it on the ground to find your runner's lunge. Dropping that back leg, your right knee to the ground and making sure front knee is stacked above front ankle. We can, on our next inhale, send hands to the sky and gradually allow our centre of gravity, our weight, to kind of shift forward, deepening the stretch you feel in your hip and groin area. And on your next exhale, you can release hands to blocks or floor, whichever is your preference. Gradually begin to shift the weight towards back, shifting the hips backwards, straightening that front leg. Inhale to lengthen the torso, exhale to forward fold in your half split position. Careful not to force the body to go any further than it wants. And on that next exhale, you can plant that right hand. And on that next inhale, send the left hand to the sky for your revolved twist. Just for a second before hand comes back to block. Shifting your weight back into that left leg, knee stacks over ankle, back leg lifts, back knee lifts, so you're back in your runner's lunge. Step it, the left leg back. We can cycle for our vinyasa, so releasing knees, chest into the ground. Inhale for upward dog. Exhale for downward dog. Stepping it forward with the left foot. Stepping it forward with the right foot. Inhale, hands together at heart space. Beautiful work. That's our sequence 1. So moving into sequence 2, we are, as per usual, meeting at the top of our mat. Both feet firmly planted into the ground. On our next inhale, we're going to raise hands and right leg to the sky. So hands to the sky, right leg lifts to a 90 degrees angle. On that exhale, we can catch that knee with laced fingers. Take an inhale to steady yourself. And on your exhale, pull that knee closer, that thigh closer to the body. Inhale. Exhale. If you have any more, you can pull it any closer. If it doesn't move, that's totally fine. If you fall out, not a problem. Hop back in. gonna find ourselves actually one little step into the middle of our mats backwards. And then on our next inhale, we can catch that knee again. And on our exhale, we can send our hands forward, hinge at the waist, send that back leg back to find our warrior three. Keeping those hips square with the ground, careful not to raise that standing leg further. Releasing your back leg to the mat at a 90 degrees angle. I think you're going to need a slightly bigger stance so your front foot can come here. There you go. Perfect. Hands to the side, hands out wide to the side on the inhale, and on your exhale we're hinging at the hips, sending your left hand towards the ground or to meet a block. Nice. Trusting that I have you, take a breath, exhale. Returning, and the next inhale, returning to standing, and then your right foot steps forward to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. And then we can inhale, lift that leg again, lift that right leg again, and we're going to exhale and place the outside of your right foot on your left knee. Inhale to find balance. Exhale and find a slight bend in your standing knee, so you're sitting into your half chair or your figure four pose. The wobbles are welcome. The wobbles mean you're alive. And then we can exhale and release that foot to the ground. Option to take a vinyasa here, if that speaks to you. So, meeting again at the top of the mat, feet firmly rooted into the ground. We're going to do that again on our left side. So, actually taking a small step back to start in the middle of your mat. We're going to inhale, raising the hands to the sky and that left knee to the sky. We're going to exhale and catch that left knee with interlaced fingers. Inhale just to steady yourself and find your balance. Exhale, you can pull that knee, that thigh closer to the body if that's in your practice. And then on our next, we're going to inhale. Our next exhale, we're going to send our hands forward and send our leg backwards, hinging at the hips to find our warrior three. Inhale and exhale. Embracing the wobbles. On your next exhale, releasing that back leg to the ground at a 90 degrees angle. Hands to the side, hands out wide to the side. Inhale to extend your torso, your spine, lengthen your spine. Exhale to hinge at your hips. And send your right hand towards the ground for your Trikonasana. Take an inhale there, and on your exhale, you can find your preferred alignment. Inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, returning to center, rising back to center. On your next exhale, we can step it forward. Inhale, raise that left leg. Exhale, outside of left foot meets right knee. Hands together at heart space. Inhale to find stability. Exhale, find a slight bend in that standing leg so you can sit in your seat, your half chair or your figure 4 pose. Just a slight bend, not a full squat. Inhaling to come out of the pose. Perfect, so on to our third sequence of the day of the flow. We are in the middle of our mats. Feet parallel, all sides of the feet rooting firmly into the ground so you are rooted beautifully, firmly. And we are inhaling to raise the arms and the right knee. On the exhale, we're sending our foot backwards to be caught by our right hand. Our right foot backwards to be caught by our right hand. On our exhale, we are leaning forward so that our arm is parallel to the ground, while sending the back leg backwards, pushing through your back leg. Your foot is pushing against your hand, find your dancer's pose. If this is difficult for you, you can choose to do a dancer from kneeling position. But you have it beautifully, so take a couple breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, kick that foot against your hand. Yeah, there you go. Foot against hand. Beautiful. And then the next exhale, you can release hand. Yeah, release your hand, release your foot to the ground. And now inhale, we're lifting that right leg again. And we're tucking it around the left leg. And for the right hand, both hands in the sky or hands in front of you, right arm goes under left arm. This is your eagle pose. Take a clearing breath here, inhale. And exhale. Beautiful work. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the left side now. So on our next inhale, we're sending hands and left leg to the sky. So inhale, hands and left leg to the sky. Exhale, foot travels backwards and left hand comes to catch left foot as right hand. Exhale, wobbles are totally fine, just reset and get back into it. Right hand comes forward as we hinge at the hips. left foot pushes against left hand, so we find our bow in our dancer's pose. Falling out of it is absolutely fine, it's part of the practice. We call it a yoga practice, not a yoga perfect. Nice. Hinging at the hips so you can balance. Pushing that foot against hand. Nice. Beautiful. And then releasing foot to the ground, we're going to inhale again. Lift that left leg from the ground and wrap it round right standing leg, using arms for balance. Left arm comes under right arm for eagle pose on the left side. Garudasana is our eagle pose. Inhale. Exhale. The beautiful thing about eagle pose is it's giving your internal organs a massage. Right, beautiful work. We're now moving into our cooling section of today's flow. So we can start at the top of the mat and take an inhale and step it back quite a medium large step with our right leg. Turning both feet to face the long edge of your mat, and then turning both feet, toes on both feet slightly outwards, so you're at a sort of 45 degrees angle on both sides. And then we can inhale to lengthen spine, reaching up above. And exhale and send hands to the ground for a wide forward fold. Take a clearing breath here in the middle. Inhale to lengthen that spine. Exhale, maybe you're gonna crawl those hands further forward slightly as you lean into your forward fold. And then let's inhale, we're going to send both hands to the same foot. So maybe your left foot. And take a breath here. And then gradually crawl those fingers over to your right foot. And inhale. And exhale. You should be feeling this in the backs of your legs and your hamstrings. If you're feeling it anywhere else, that's totally fine. Just make a note of where that might be. Returning to center. And then inhaling to return to standing position. Perfect. Now we're actually going to find ourselves in a seated position now. We're actually on our backs, rather. So into our cooling seated poses. So feet out in front of you. And we can lie on our backs. On the next inhale, we're gonna push the ground away with our feet and send our hips to the sky. Engaging that belly button, squeezing those inner thighs. And breathe here. Inhale to squeeze and lift higher. Exhale. Inhale. Squeezing and lifting as high as you can, as stable as you can, and exhale. One more breath here. Inhale. Squeeze. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And exhale, releasing to the ground. Beautiful. Right, so now we're going to bring both legs together, lifting them off the ground, bring them together, feet together, knees together, and then we're going to gently send them to the left side together so we can get our spinal twist. Stretching your arms out in a T shape. Yeah, nice. If you've got enough space for that. Take 2, 3 clearing breaths here. And on your next inhale, return to center. And on your next exhale, falling to your right side. Or gently releasing legs to your right side rather. Arms stay in that T shape. Returning to center. And hands come to feet, knees come towards armpits. Hands hold outer edges of your feet as you find your happy baby. Let's take a couple breaths here. Inhaling to lengthen spine. Exhaling to perhaps deepen pose. Option to straighten legs one by one. Slowly, mindfully. Now you may take any other poses you may need for your practice before we take our final pose. So whatever it is that might feel good in your body. So option to perhaps take a child's pose, a wide-legged child pose here. Or anything else that speaks to you in your vessel for today. Another beautiful option might be a pigeon on both sides. So to find your pigeon, you can right leg is straight and back, left leg left knee at the top of the mat, right foot near right hand. Now as we move towards Shavasana, now's the time to grab anything you may need to make you as comfortable as possible. So this might be a bolster to take under your legs if it's uncomfortable for you to lie on your back as is. If you're pregnant, you might choose to have, or you should choose to take a Shavasana lying on your side. Some folks may not find lying on your side or your back comfortable in any circumstance, in which case you can stay in a cross leg or a a seated position with legs out front, whichever suits you. So you may want to have that bolster below your legs. Got something below your legs? Are you good?
I'm good.
Yes, coming down to your final resting position. Palms facing upwards besides the body. Slight space between the legs. Just taking a moment to meet the version of yourself that's here today. Taking a clearing breath, inhale and exhale. Taking a couple of ujjayi breaths or ocean breath just to seal the practice the same way we began it. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the throat, finding a slight restriction in your throat. To find that oceanic sound. Bringing your awareness to your toes, to your feet. Taking note of how they feel, of any residual tension, and letting that melt away. Bringing your awareness to your calves, your shins, your knees, melting away any last tension you find. Bringing your awareness to your thighs, your hips, your psoas muscle. And melting those muscles a little bit more. Your awareness comes to your torso, your arms, relaxing that area just that little bit more. And finally your neck, your jaw, your ears and your head. Taking note of what you find and injecting a little bit more relaxation into that area, removing any residual tension. Focus on your breath. Each inhale and exhale. Not changing the breath, just observing it. If you find the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Perhaps with each breath, you visualize a white light, perhaps an ocean wave. Moving through your body. Observe your breath. welcoming you back to the room gently. You can begin to wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Meet yourself back in your vessel, back in the room. Observing the body and how it feels. Observing anything that feels different, anything that feels the same. Knowing that there is no right way to be, you just are. Gradually rolling to your right or your left side. And take a moment in your side before using your top hand to push you back to a seated position, cross-legged or legs out in front of you, whichever is comfortable for you to maintain. Take a moment just to remind yourself of any intentions you set yourself for this practice. We were working to find more space in the body, in the vessel, in the hips, and in the mind. Take a moment just to observe the results of the practice and of any intention that you also chose to set for yourself as well. As we close with gratitude, I'm really grateful for your time, your energy, both in the room and online. Perhaps we can now move through our day and through our week and through our months with that little bit more space and gratitude. Gratitude for ourselves, for showing up on the mat today, showing up for ourselves. Gratitude for our vessel, because it allowed us to do a lot of impressive things in today's practice. And gratitude for one another who shared in this practice together. So we can seal the practice with an Om. You may choose to come with, you may choose to hum, or you can just choose to observe your breath and my practice. So inhaling to clear. Inhaling for Om. Bringing hands together at heart space. Namaste. Go gently, drink lots of water, and be careful and mindful with yourselves for the rest of the day.